Hey guys, it's Fayon here. Welcome back to another video on the passive hang. Today I'm going to share with you guys some basic neck movements. Basic, but not simple. There are going to be a few tricky ones in here to challenge you guys. Now, the neck is a very common troublesome area for a lot of people because we don't actually move it that much. We might go from standing to looking at a screen to looking down at another screen and then back up again. And we wonder why we have such a stiff neck. But the neck is actually a wonderful, wonderful area which we can look around and articulate in all these different ways because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to look all around us, and the neck helps facilitate this visual sense. Now, today I'm going to actually show you a method of how to approach exploring the neck, but you can apply this to the rest of the spine. So the method that I show you is going to show you some ways in how to articulate and oscillate, tilt, circle the neck, but you can theoretically, well, not theoretically, actually apply it to the rest of the spine as well, which I'll talk a little bit about near the end of the video, but I will use the example of the neck to demonstrate a lot of these motions for you guys, because the neck is actually the area of the spine which is most accessible for a lot of people, as opposed to an area of the spine maybe somewhere down the chest or even in the lower abdomen. With the head, you actually, for most people, already can look over to the right, look over to the right, look over to the left, look over to the right, circle your head around. So we're going to start there. All right, well, this is enough talking for now. Let's get started with the demonstration. We're going to start with the most recognizable neck movement that a lot of people can do, which is the head tilt. So I want you to place your awareness for all these neck motions at the base of your skull. So you can put your hand to this point here at the back of the neck to identify that. And as we go through each of these motions, place your focus on that segment of the spine. So the neck tilt is the one where we tilt our head and we bring our ear down towards the shoulder, just like this. If you're not suffering from any stiff neck ailments, for most people this will be quite easy for you to access. Now I'm going to place a constraint on here which is going to challenge you a little bit more, which is I want you to do this tilt where it's a pure tilt without any neck rotation like this, which we're going to practice in the next movement. So with this neck tilt, when you bring your ear towards your shoulder, I want you to be aware if there is any rotation down or up like this, which you can use a mirror if you're looking straight into a mirror to help align your face. So you want to be looking at your face just like if you were to, I'm looking at this camera, and here I'm looking at this camera and my face isn't tilting away from looking up or down. And so with this, we start introducing potentially a more intentional movement path for you where you're going, okay, I want to tilt my head. I'm really going to be able to direct and tilt my head exactly in the way that I want to do it. Now, you don't have to always go to the extreme end range, but you can do this. But then after a while, if you keep on forcing it, it becomes less of just an isolated neck movement. And if you want to go down more, you might find, oh, okay, now my shoulder is creeping up and my other shoulder is creeping down, some other unwanted movement. So a lot of the neck movements that we're going to go through in this video, I want you to just, place that awareness at that point in the spine and then see, okay, can I quieten down everything else in my body? Just have my arms hanging nice and low and heavy and only have what I want moving, which is the neck, to be moving. And so maybe you can't go as deep as you normally can, but you're moving a little bit more intentionally with more intentional direction with the neck. With the tilts, we can also not only tilt to the left and then to the right, but also we can tilt up and down, up and down. So drawing our chin to our chest and then all the way up to the sky. And again, you just want to see, okay, what is the range I have available for myself today? And we're going to move on to the next one now, which we want to differentiate from the side-to-side tilt, which is the rotation. So this is as if we're going to look over our left and right shoulder. So if I was to rotate, look over my right shoulder, look over my left shoulder. And again, can we just keep the plane of our face still and completely rotate? This is if I was rotating with my whole body, like this, to face this way, and then to face that way. You'll find maybe you can get to about here, and then that's cool. But then when you get to here, oh, suddenly like the rest of the body wants to move, or some other funny things happen. You know, you might feel a little bit more restricted in that plane. And similarly, we want to also be aware if you're rotating and then suddenly like there's a little bit of a tilt happening, and we're getting mixed up from the tilt action with the rotation action. So can you just do a pure rotation to the left and to the right? With this one, you might need to grab a phone, video yourself, because your vision is taking you away from if you're standing in front of a mirror. You can look at the video afterwards and then see, okay, am I being really strict with how I actually want to rotate from the base of the skull with the neck? Keeping an eye on any movement from below the body, especially from the shoulders, because they're the most closest part of the body, which might want to jump in and help you, especially if your neck is feeling a little bit gunky, a little bit more restricted. Once we've gotten familiar with this rotation, then we can start to work to combine both the tilt and the rotation into a universal circle. So what that will look like is we can tilt our head down. So we place our chin down, then we look over to our left shoulder, then drawing a big circle with the chin, we then look up and then come down to the other side into this universal circle where we're drawing the chin in a big circle, and we can go the other way. So again, I look down, and then from down here, I don't just go and then go into this motion. I try and trace the chin in its largest circle, which means I kind of trace it to look at this shoulder, and then I trace it wide to a larger circle to get to the other side. So that's a nice big universal circle that you can also explore, which probably for a lot of you might be familiar with. But again, when you start placing these constraints and limitations on, okay, like, am I moving my neck exactly how I want to move it? It becomes something a little bit different. Now we're going to move on to something which is probably a little bit more new for a lot of you, which is going to be oscillations. So we're going to now move forward and backward and then side to side with our neck in an oscillation. What does this look like? Forward and backward. It's probably going to be the first step which you can work on. So now I am pushing my head forward at the base of the skull and then drawing it back. Drawing it back and making a big double chin, which is making it a little bit more harder for me to talk as well. So here I am oscillating that segment of the spine, the base of the skull, forward and backward in the sagittal plane, which is forward and backward versus the rest of the body. So And I'm being careful here that my head doesn't tilt up or down when I do it, so I don't try and go forward and then tilt up, which might be very common. And the same when I'm coming back and I'm not tilting down, which it might be a very common movement pattern that you guys might be a little bit stuck with. So can you just oscillate very strictly the head forward and backward, forward and backward, forward and backward. Very simple movement. Again, pushing it forward without any tilting might be something which is a little bit more foreign for you, which is okay. You can just work with what you got, and then over time, little by little, with practice, you'll get a little bit more able to direct your neck as intended. Now, the side-to-side oscillation, this is where it starts to get quite tricky for a lot of people. So now we're going to move the neck. If this is the middle point, I'm going to move it to the side left and then to the right. Very small micro movement. And again, I'm trying to move it to the left without then tilting my head to look to the left and then over to the right, not just looking over to the right here. I'm trying to keep the face of my, the plane of my face directly facing the camera, and then oscillate the point of the base of my skull left and right. With this, it's very common for you to start wanting to do like these side-to-side tilts, all manner of maybe weird type of movements because it's a less common movement. But this is where you start expanding your idea of how the neck can actually move. You can see me here, I can actually displace my neck over to the left whilst keeping the rest of my spine relatively fixed. And the same with the other side as well. It's pretty cool. This one I recommend, really face the mirror, have a look. You might even use your fingers as a guide to try and touch the sides of your face to give you a bit of tactile feedback. But again, it's one that you have to be patient with to develop over time. Otherwise, moving on from the oscillations, once you start developing this movement capability to go forward and back, side to side, you're comfortable with the tilts and the rotations, now we can look at developing circles in the different planes. So, what do I mean? I will show you. I will show you the circles first so you know what I'm talking about, and then I can talk you through them. So there's their sagittal circle. So if you imagine from the base of my skull, I'm going to now trace it in a circular motion in the sagittal plane. So here. And the other direction. I can also trace my neck and my head in the transverse plane. So it will look like this. I'll do it facing the camera first. On the side. And then finally, we can also trace a circle in the frontal plane as well, which I find the most trickiest, but I'm going to give it a go for you guys. So here we go. Oh, serious face on for that one. So this idea now is combining what we were doing before with these oscillations and then finding the endpoints of the oscillations and then drawing a circle around with them. So with the sagittal one, which is probably going to be the most approachable one for you guys to explore first. So that's this one. We are combining the endpoints of the forward and backward oscillation with the up-down tilt to draw a circle. So from this position, I draw my neck back. If we were to go in this direction, I draw my neck back in the backward oscillation, I tilt up, and then I reach forward to end up in the forward oscillation point, and then I tilt down, and then I come back to this to the 0 point, we can call it, at the start. So again, coming back, tilting up, drawing forward, down, and then back to neutral. Reversing direction, then I tilt down, I'll go forward to the forward oscillation, up, then back, I tilt down again, and then back to neutral. Tilting down, forward, bringing my neck up, tracing a big circle, and then back to neutral. Again, when we're doing these circles, just trying to minimize and quieten the motion, especially of the shoulders and anything else of the spine, so that we just have a very strict circular motion, opening up the movement capabilities of the top of the spine and how we can articulate that. So this is similar with the circle in the transverse plane. That's this one. We're now drawing a circle, tracing the points of the left and the right oscillation. So with the circles, it makes sense for you to really be comfortable with the oscillations first before you move on to the circles, because we hit through those points. So with this one, starting from the 0 point, we're going to come back first, so we hit the backward oscillation point, and then without rotating, because I'm going to keep the face of the plane facing the camera, I'm then going to then go over to the left point oscillation, to the forward, to the right, again avoiding any tilting or rotating of the neck, and then coming back to the backward oscillation. So we're actually mapping all 4 of those oscillation end range points that we're practicing before. Going back the other way, I go backwards, over to the right, come to forward, and then coming over to the left, and back. So thinking like I'm kind of wiping my nose on the inside of a very smooth circular cylinder, where in all these circles we're trying to make it as smooth as possible. So especially with this one, if you were to kind of be here, and it's going to look like this at first, you come here and then you're kind of glitching. Just a good tip is just try and slow down even more. So it's a really intentional slow circle. You feel the whole of the neck as you move in this circle, gaining awareness. With the final circle being the frontal plane, you actually need to kind of forwardly oscillate your neck forward a little bit, and then from there, then you are then tracing a circle where it goes in this motion. So you're tracing from left to right point, but you're combining a little bit of the forward oscillation with the left and right oscillating points. So looking to the side, I put my neck a little bit forward, and then I come and try and elongate my neck, going over to the left, right, up the top, coming down, then reversing, I go over to the right, down, left, up. This one, you also want to try and keep the plane of the face. If you're looking at a mirror, completely looking forward to the mirror and avoiding any rotation. This is one that I really struggle with, so don't expect you guys to also get this one very quickly, but a very, very challenging way to develop the neck, and really opens up your eyes to the possibility of, oh, wow, I didn't know I could actually direct and move my neck in such a way. So we have the circles. From here, this is where I want to talk to you guys about how to develop greater awareness through the spine. So we just went through all these ways on how to tilt the neck. So left, right, up, down. We also rotated. We combine it in this circle. We also did these forward back oscillations, left, right, and then we did all these crazy circles that you didn't know that you could do with the neck. Now, I want you to now think about, okay, that was just at the base of the skull, this segment of the neck at the top. We can actually move down the spine to whatever segment you want to help develop and maybe is a little bit more clouded for you. And you can apply the same methodology to help develop movement options of how to articulate the spine. So I'll choose the center of the chest just to demonstrate a few for you guys. But with the center of the chest, I can do the same with what we were doing before. I can do these rotations. Which is isolated from the spine parts, which is above and below. I can also do these circles, such as in that sagittal plane. Also do circles in the transverse plane. And the frontal plane as well. And you can already see how you can oscillate if you were to place your awareness at the center of the chest, or that segment on the opposite side of the center of the chest, and explore, okay, what oscillations, what tilts, what rotations, what circles can I do if I really place my awareness at that segment of the spine? What movement options do I have available for me today? And which ones am I interested in developing in? And you can already see that with these circles, they can develop into more global spinal waves, such as this circular movement already looks like a spinal wave, which some of you might be familiar with, and combining these circles of like the head and then having it flow through to the body starts becoming this full body wave. So with these points that become oscillations, that become circles, and then combining them to other circles of the spine, then we get these waves. Really cool, hey? That's all for today, guys. Hot tip, take just one or two of these movements and practice those to start off with. So I recommend you start off with a start. That's how I've structured the video. So take the tilts and the rotation, and then just practice those for 1 or 2 minutes continuously, each one of them, for every day, or maybe once every 2 days. And then compare a video at the start of the month of how you might be articulating and rotating your neck. Take a video at the end of the month after you've done all this practice, and I think you guys might be surprised at how much can change. The subtle differences of when you practice even basic motions, how much you can learn and how much you can expand in terms of how well you can intentionally articulate the spine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments box below. And you can also find my details on the website, that's at thepassivehang.com. If you're interested in learning movement from me as well, you can find more details about my online coaching on that website. That's at thepassivehang.com. All right, guys, well, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.